My mother-in-law claimed she was helping by reorganizing our kitchen while we were away. "You'll thank me later," she said. But when I showed her how I'd reorganized it back, her reaction was priceless. I'm a 34-year-old woman living in a cozy suburb of Portland, Oregon. My husband, Mike, and I have been married for 5 years. We recently bought our first home together, a charming 2-story house with a spacious kitchen that I absolutely adore. Cooking has always been my passion, and I've spent countless hours organizing every utensil, spice, and appliance to perfection. Enter my mother-in-law, Barbara. She's 62, retired, and has a penchant for helping in ways that often cross boundaries. Barbara believes that her way is the right way, and she's not shy about imposing her methods on others. A few months ago, Mike and I planned a week-long vacation to Hawaii. It was our first real getaway since the pandemic, and we were beyond excited. We arranged for our neighbor to water the plants and collect the mail. Everything was set. Unbeknownst to me, Mike had mentioned our trip to Barbara during a casual phone call. She immediately offered to keep an eye on the house while we were away. Mike, thinking it was a kind gesture, agreed without consulting me. Fast forward to our return. As we pulled into the driveway, I noticed that the curtains were drawn differently. Odd, but I brushed it off. Upon entering the house, I was greeted by the scent of lemon cleaner, a scent I never use. My heart sank. I rushed to the kitchen, my sanctuary. To my horror, everything was rearranged. My meticulously organized spice rack was now alphabetized. I had them grouped by cuisine. The pots and pans were relocated to different cabinets. My baking supplies were scattered. Even my grandmother's vintage mixing bowls were moved from their display shelf. Barbara stood in the kitchen, beaming. "Surprise! I thought I'd help by reorganizing your kitchen. You'll thank me later." I was speechless. Mike, sensing my fury, tried to mediate. "Mom, maybe you should have asked before making changes." Barbara waved him off. "Nonsense. I know what's best. This setup is much more efficient." I spent the next few days trying to adjust, but I couldn't find anything. Cooking became a chore. I felt like a stranger in my own home. That's when I devised a plan. I decided to host a family dinner the following weekend and invited Barbara. She eagerly accepted, excited to see her improvements in action. The day before the dinner, I spent hours reorganizing the kitchen back to my original setup. Every spice, utensil, and appliance was returned to its rightful place. I even added labels to the cabinets for good measure. When Barbara arrived, she immediately noticed. "What happened?" "I spent so much time organizing this for you." I smiled sweetly. "I appreciated your effort, but I prefer my kitchen this way. It works best for me." She was visibly upset. "But my way is more efficient." I maintained my composure. Efficiency is subjective. This setup brings me joy and comfort. Barbara huffed, but said nothing more. The dinner went smoothly, and everyone enjoyed the meal. As she left, Barbara muttered, "Well, I suppose everyone has their own way." Since then, Barbara hasn't attempted to reorganize anything in our home. Sometimes, setting boundaries requires a little assertiveness. So, after that dinner, things were quiet for a bit. Too quiet. Barbara didn't say much after I put the kitchen back the way it was. She didn't offer her help anymore. No passive-aggressive remarks about my cooking setup. No comments about how she'd do things differently. I thought maybe she'd finally taken the hint. I was wrong. A few weeks later, Mike and I were invited to his cousin's wedding down in San Diego. It was going to be a weekend trip, just Friday to Sunday. We almost didn't go because I didn't want to leave the house unattended, but Mike swore up and down that he hadn't told his mom about the trip and that she was too busy with her new quilting club to care. Saturday afternoon, my phone started blowing up. First, a notification from our Ring doorbell. Then one from our interior security cam in the kitchen. And then, to top it all off, a missed call from Barbara. I opened the camera app and saw her inside our house. In the kitchen, wearing gloves. with cleaning supplies. Again. I was livid. She had used the emergency key we kept under the backyard garden frog. Dumb, I know, Mike's idea. She had come in without asking. Again. And was going through my kitchen drawers. Again. But it didn't stop there. This time, she had trash bags. And she was throwing things away. She tossed my hand-labeled spice jars in a big black garbage bag like they were expired milk. She tossed the silicone baking mats I use every week. I saw her hold up my pasta roller, a gift from my late aunt, and just shrug and bag it. I called her right away. No answer. I texted Mike, who was still at the hotel pool. He didn't answer either. My hands were shaking. By the time we got back home Sunday night, the kitchen looked completely different again. But not reorganized. Empty. She had decluttered, as she called it when I confronted her Monday morning. You had too much junk, she said, sipping coffee at her kitchen table like she hadn't just committed a full-blown home invasion. I asked her what she did with everything. Donated it, she said. To Goodwill. It was for the best. Less is more. I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. But I didn't. I just walked out. That night, I told Mike this was it. She crossed a line. This wasn't help. This was control. This was her trying to make our home her second kitchen. I told him I didn't want her in our house again without us there. Ever. Mike was quiet. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. She thought she was doing us a favor. I asked him if he thought that too. He didn't answer. So now I was angry at both of them. Barbara for crossing every boundary in the book, and Mike for making excuses for it. And then things got worse. A week later, I got a call from my boss. Someone had dropped off homemade cookies at my office reception desk. With a little note. The note read, "Hope this helps you relax a little. Less stuff, more peace. Love, B." I was done. This wasn't just about the kitchen anymore. This was a game to her. A power game. And I wasn't going to play nice anymore. You want to play this game, Barbara? Fine. Let's play. So yeah, after the cookie stunt, I realized Barbara wasn't just being nosy anymore. She was making this personal. She was trying to wear me down, little by little. But the thing is, I don't wear down easy. I didn't respond to the cookies. I didn't call her. I didn't even mention it to Mike right away. Instead, I started keeping notes. Dates, times, what she did, how she got in. I printed screenshots from the security cams, copies of her texts, even the donation receipt I found in our trash from the Goodwill she'd used. I was building a file. I didn't know what I was going to do with it yet, but I knew I'd need it. About 3 weeks went by, and everything seemed quiet again. Then I got a text from our neighbor, Janet, while I was at work. "Hey, just saw your ML going into your house again. Everything okay?" That was it. I drove straight home. I didn't even call Mike. I got there just in time to see her coming out the front door with a box. A box labeled pantry, donate. I parked in the driveway and got out. She froze when she saw me. "Barbara, what are you doing?" She had the nerve to smile. "Just helping out. You've got expired stuff in there." I walked right past her, into the house, straight to the pantry. She'd pulled almost everything off the shelves. Half the canned goods were in bags. Boxes of pasta, snacks, baking ingredients. It looked like a supermarket raid. I didn't even speak. I took out my phone, walked back outside, and started taking pictures of the open trunk of her car, the boxes labeled with our names, the bags full of our pantry items. She started getting nervous. "You don't need to make a big deal," I cut her off. "This is the last time, Barbara. You're not allowed in our house without us. I'm changing the locks today." She laughed. "You're overreacting." Mike said it was fine. My stomach turned. Mike said what? She waved a hand. "He gave me a key last week. Said you'd calm down and I could help again." I didn't even finish the conversation. I got in my car, drove to the hardware store, and changed every lock on every door before Mike even got home. That night was not fun. When Mike walked in and saw me holding a key ring, he looked confused. I asked him directly, "Did you give your mom another key?" He hesitated. "She said she wanted to help again." I didn't think it'd be a big deal. I swear, I almost left the house then and there. We argued for hours. Real yelling. Not like us. I felt like I didn't even recognize him. At some point, he threw up his hands. "She's just trying to be part of our lives. Why do you hate her so much?" I didn't answer right away. I went to my file, pulled it out, and laid it all on the table. Because this is what she does. This isn't love. This is manipulation. Control. She doesn't want to help. She wants to replace me in this house. He went quiet. Really quiet. Then he said something I didn't expect. "You're not wrong." He sat down and rubbed his face. I guess I didn't want to believe it, but she's always been like this. She used to throw away my stuff when I was a kid. Rearrange my room without asking. Tell me it was better for me. I guess I got used to it. And then he told me something else. Apparently, when we were in Hawaii, Barbara hadn't just stopped by once. She'd stayed in our house, slept in our bed, used our bathroom, cooked her own meals. She told Mike she was just house-sitting, and he had gone along with it because he didn't want to upset her. I honestly felt like I'd been punched. This wasn't just kitchen meddling. This was full-on intrusion. So that's when I decided, if she wanted to help so bad, I'd give her a reason to never want to come back again. So yeah, I was done playing defense. You want to turn my kitchen into your playground? Fine. But now I'm writing the rules. First thing I did? I made sure there were no spare keys left anywhere. No rock frog, no extras in the garage, nothing. Then I installed a new security system, one of those that alerts you in real time and takes screenshots every time someone opens a door or window. Password protected. Only me and Mike had the code, but the real revenge? That came next. I went back through every single item Barbara had donated and called the local Goodwill. The manager was helpful, said she remembered an older lady dropping off a ton of kitchen stuff. I asked if anything was still there. Some of it was. I drove over that same day and bought back what I could. The pasta roller was gone. So were my spice jars and half my bakeware. But I wasn't done. I called Barbara and invited her over for dinner. Just her and Mike. No hard feelings, I said. Let's talk. She agreed, probably thinking I was finally coming around. I spent all day preparing. Made a huge meal. Set the table nice. Lit candles. Even made her favorite dessert, lemon pie. When she and Mike arrived, I greeted them with a smile. She acted smug, like she'd won. Like I was finally realizing she was right all along. Dinner started out quiet. Awkward small talk. Then, halfway through dessert, I brought out a big folder. I slid it across the table to her. She opened it. Inside were photos. Pictures from the security cams, dated and time-stamped. Photos of her dumping my stuff, rearranging my kitchen, and even the note she left at my office. Then came the receipt from the Goodwill, with her name on it. Last, I included a typed letter I had written. It read, "You're no longer welcome in our home without permission. You have broken trust. This isn't love. This is control. And you've hurt me. If you ever enter our home again without both of us present and invited, I will file a police report. You will be charged with trespassing and theft." She laughed at first. "You wouldn't." I leaned forward. "Try me." She turned to Mike. "You're going to let her talk to me like this?" And then came the moment I didn't expect. Mike said, "Yes. And if you come back without asking, I won't stop her." Barbara's face went pale, like someone flipped a switch. She pushed the pie away, stood up, and left without another word. But it didn't stop there. A few days later, I got a call. From Barbara's sister, of all people. She said Barbara had been really shaken and was saying that I had turned Mike against her. She asked if I'd apologize to smooth things over. I told her no. Because here's the thing, I did make mistakes. I let it go too long. I didn't speak up soon enough. I avoided confrontation and hoped Barbara would magically respect boundaries. But not anymore. I'm not saying revenge solved everything, but setting a hard, clear boundary did. It wasn't sweet. It wasn't gentle. But it was necessary. Barbara hasn't spoken to us in over 3 months now. Mike's been going to therapy. Turns out this wasn't the first time she'd messed with his life like this. And me? Well, I finally feel like my home is mine again. And yeah, my kitchen's back exactly the way I like it.